Hi friend, it's Pat Sloan here, and it is what? What is it? What is it? Block Wednesday. So what is in our closet? What's in your closet? It's like what's in your wallet, right? That's always what I think of. I can hear that commercial. What's in your wallet? What's in your closet? Today it is something many of us use, and we put all our crapola in it so we can carry it around. Yes, that is it. It is our bags, our purses, our totes, whatever term you use, that is it. And this is what the block looks like. So it's a fun block. It is a fun block. So here it is, a large scale, and this is back to the 12-inch size. So we're in the 12-inch size, and here it is in repeat, where basically I rotated the units, so they're side by side, but rotated, which is pretty fun. It gives a really fun look. I would like to see that one. There's no sashing or anything, it's just the blocks rotated. This one is like 36 by 48, so it's not really big. Be great for like a toddler quilt, something like that, or wall hanging if you're using fabulous fabrics. So it is once again written as half square triangles, which is the no waste method. So there's no waste when you do it that way. You can use flying geese units, you can use square and a square units, and I'll show you some papers for those. So if you're interested in that, so I'll just kind of give you that preview kind of an option if you're looking for it. So bags and purses. I am a bag lady from day one. I am sure that I must have been born and given a tiny little handbag or something. I just love bags. So I'm going to show you one of them. This is my nice bag. This is my nice bag. It is probably the last nice bag I purchased when I was on travel. Actually, I was on a cruise ship. So that's nice travel, huh? That was fun travel. So I bought it on the ship. And I just adore this. Is the perfect shade of red. It's not too heavy. It can, it's my nice bag. It's my current nice bag. But I have a few others. I have a few other bags. Okay, so one of the things is I want to show you making that block. I am going to finish the rows of block a day. They're almost done. This is like the last unit to sew on to the last block that fits up there. The others are on the ironing board to sew. Then I have to. It is also Little Red Wagon Day. Little Red Wagon. I don't know. That is kind of iconic, right? A little red wagon. I'm sure many of us had it as children. Your children might have had them. Your grandchildren might have them. And I'm sure there are some quilts out there with a little red wagon on it. So if you have quilts or fabric that has a little red wagon on it, show that. I want to see it. Yes, I do. I want to see it. Also, the Benartex sign up is working now. I told you on Monday about it for the virtual show, but apparently I was a day early. My notes were messed up. So it didn't open until Tuesday for you to put your name in there to get notification to come to the virtual. And where, remember, you can get they're going to give prizes. They'll give fabric away at the different sessions. So if you want to watch live, that's a lot of fun. So we're going to go look at building the block first, and then we'll have a quilt parade of last week's block. So let's go. First, I have to move this for the tulip banner, which there are still kits for this. It only comes in the kit. I have everything cut. I switched out the one fabric. I still had to cut, well, everything but the background. I didn't cut the background yet. So I just need to move that out of the way. Okay, so what's in your closet? These units are done as half square triangles, so if you are making scrappy, there is very little waste. You're making 2 at a time, you use them all. But if you want to showcase your fabric better, let's look at another option. And there's always multiple ways to accomplish the same thing. Many, many ways. And I am going to show you the foundation papers today because that's another way. And a lot of people love foundation papers because they are super accurate And but they're going to have waist. You know, anything other than have square triangles here will have waist. We're doing sew and flips. You can do some other more complicated techniques, but the easier ones, the sew and flips, the foundations, are going to have waist. But you are, if you're experienced with another method of flying geese or whatever, do what you enjoy and what works for you. Okay, so this, let me explain the math. This is 6 inches, this block here. This is 6 by 6, and this is 6 by 6. Finished. 6.5 by 6.5, unfinished. So they are 6.5 by 6.5. That is what this is. Because this is a 12-inch block. So now when you add these two together, there's 6 plus 6 is 12, plus the 1/4 inches on either side. Down here, we have half of that height. So these are 3.5 by 6.5 wide, each of the flying geese. And that is unfinished size. So what I need is the 6-inch, which is 6.5 inch square in a square. And then I need the 3 by 6 papers, which are 3.5 by 6.5. A lot of times it's easier to do the adding and all of that using the finished sizes, and then at the end for the final block size, you know, or the final unit size even, you add the 2/4 inches, which is a 1/2 inch. So this is what I have to work with. So if I'm going to I need 2 papers. Here's 1, 2. So I need 1 paper, which makes 2 flying geese units, the top and the bottom one. Can you see them? Yeah, and then I need a second paper so that I can get 4 flying geese. And then I only need 2 square and a square, which are, now you need this again, which are these guys here. So I'll take 2 of those. All right, so then I'm going to go to the machine and we're just going to sew. We're going to sew 1 of each. If you are going to use these papers, you are going to use the cutting directions that are in here, not in my pattern. You need the cutting directions for the papers, and those are on the back of the front page, the harder page here. There's the cutting directions right at the top. And so that's what you want for both of these. You're not going to use my paper cutting directions. Let me just show you the components of these two. The regular foundation paper piecing. If you have never done foundation paper piecing before, you are sewing on the lines on the paper. You're kind of working a little bit upside down and backwards. The Fat Quarter Shop has videos at their YouTube channel for all of these, and so you can go there and get the details. So you're working with an oversized square and then some, we'll do square and a square first. And that's because this is the easier one. I don't think the other's hard, it just has more pieces and it's just a little bit clever. So we'll do this one first, show you. So you've got 4 triangles. It was a square cut in half, which is what it tells you. Okay, so you're not doing this. You're not gonna be looking at the front. That's why it's sort of, like I said, upside down and backwards. You will be having the fabric pinned to the back. And there's lots and lots of tips and tricks for foundation. I am not showing those to you today. I am just doing something super basic. And so you need that to cover all the lines so that you know it's going to have a seam allowance. You know, so I generally will pin from the front to be sure that it's there. You can hold it up to the light and you can see through the paper. It's not something that you can do here on the video very effectively. I can't show you that. I mean, it just doesn't show up, but you can actually fold, you can actually crease this, crease it on the line of, you know, the sew line, and then you can see there's a seam allowance. That'll be, you know, your seam allowance, because you're going to sew on the front. And what you have to do is take one of your half square triangles, and you will be laying it as, you know, right sides together, normal sewing, except that you sew on the back side. You're going to sew on that line. And so once again, if you've folded that, you can check. See, I need to pull my half square triangle, my triangle up a little bit. I need to pull it up so that I catch it in the seam allowance. So at this point, I could pin this from the front, Like I said, you can go watch a zillion videos with all kinds of tips and tricks and all different zillions of ways to handle this. But basically, I'm going to sew on that line. So let me just show you that. If you put your pin right on the sew line, then you can actually flip the piece over and verify that it's going to be covering that corner, because you need it to cover the corner. So mine will cover the corner. I'm good to go, and I will be sewing on the line. You know, it doesn't matter which way you have it. I took my stitch length down one just because you're going to pull the paper off, and so you don't want to pull on the stitches. I start out in that outer edge. You're always going to be trimming on the line. You know, when you're done, you're going to be cutting on the line. So I'm sewing along here, just on that drawn line. That is it. And so that's why it's super accurate and why people really love foundation paper piecing. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut the thread. This is the back side now. Here's the front. And when we press it, it will be covering all the way past this gray line. And as it says right here, you trim on this line, on the gray line. So we're good. We're going to press, and I can actually do two, to be efficient. I can do these two and take the other block over here and do two of them, and then take it to be pressed. I don't have to do it for every single line because they're opposite. So I can do two and then the other two. Unlike the half square, the square and a square, where the piece is on point like this, the flying geese, the piece will not be on point. Your rectangle will be straight on, so that it will go like this on the back side, and you have to be sure that you line it up. You know, you're going to have to peek underneath or look, you know, hold it up to the light and be sure that it goes past. Once again, this solid line here will be the trim line for the two, because you're going to make two at a time. So this square is the centers of two of the flying geese. And we need 4 flying geese. 2 dark, 2 light is what I'm using. So once you get that all lined up, then it works exactly the same as this one, where you will have, you know, you probably want a few more pins. Like I said, you can go do bunches of research, find a zillion ways to do this type of thing. I'm just giving you the super basics. So once again, from the back side, you will be lining this up so that it will sew on here, and then it'll flip up. But you will see this time, rather than having blank like on this one, you will have the fabric, because we're working with a full rectangle, and you'll be cutting those away. So like I said, there's a little bit more waste with this than there is with doing half square triangles. All right, so let me sew these up and show you what they look like. So here are the blocks. This is this square and a square untrimmed. So you can see there's all the stuff around the edges. And then here is the trimmed one. You can see in the back. See, I cut it right on those outer edges now. So now it is 2 sides. It is 6.5 by 6.5. The flying geese unit is a little bit different. Here it is untrimmed. And don't have a panic attack when you look here. Do you see here? There's like no seam allowance. It comes like right to the edges, but there's seam allowances out here. That's because when I flip this, this is the line. This is the cut line, because it's 2 units. So don't panic when you see that, because when you cut them apart and trim them, this is what you'll have. And here they are on the back. And so you will have cut away. See, we will have cut this out. And don't forget to cut that center strip, because it's not very wide, and don't leave it on one of the sides. All right, now you just take the paper off. And so this paper is made for foundation. These are the fat quarter shop papers. And I did a little bit tinier seam, stitch length. So they just rip off very nice. And you just fill your little paper thing, and it doesn't take long. They come off really quickly, and you do this to all of them. And I'm gonna go ahead and sew my block. And here is my totes, bags, the purses, whatever you call your your thing that you carry around, my block, all done. Also, remember to go visit our ambassador Kendall for his YouTube channel today. He's always talking about the Block Wednesday. And we're going to go and have a quilt parade of your coat blocks from last week. So let's take a look. We are starting out the coat parade with Bonnie's sweet pink and yellow spring. It screams spring. Caitlin's gorgeous, warm, and cozy block. And I tell you, this has to be the flattest, most perfect block I have ever seen. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Look at her points. Oh my goodness. And then her whole family of blocks together. Love that black and white, that black stripe rather, on the hugs and kisses. That's really nice. Kathy's block, look at her big florals. Orange and that sort of bluey, dark navy, bluey, a little bit of teal, and her blocks all together. This one is amazing. She has some other projects there on the left, but look, oh, so gorgeous. Okay, Kathy, we got some with quite a few here today where we're going to see the block and things going together. She's doing the smaller, well, not smaller, she's doing the smaller quilt ultimately, but all the blocks are 12 inches, and she's doing some auditioning. She's been auditioning in the group for her border fabrics. Blue in there. Adding that blue in is great. Okay, Darlene has, let's first look at her block. Here's her block, and you see the ombre, the blue-green ombre with all the squares. The black with that is awesome, very striking. But here's the fabric that she's using. It's a Benartex gradation. And let's see what she's doing. Multiple blocks. She said she might do an additional row from what I have in the pattern. Look at how that gradation, that ombre looks. Just amazing. Okay, Deborah's block in greens with a really fun orangey floral, little tiny check, and then all together now. That is awesome. I'm really loving yours all together. They look so great. And so look at these as I'm showing you, because you might get some ideas if you're sort of looking for your sashing fabrics. Here you go. You see all kinds of them. Denise has a little family portrait, all of hers, looking really, really good. I love them so much. Doriana's blues. This looks like, what are like apron fabrics or feed sacks, that's the word. Looks like feed sack fabrics. That is just blue. I don't know, that's that summer blue. Elaine's beautiful greens, and I like this fabric line. I may have worked with that fabric line. So, I think I did. I think I did for my library quilt. Gorgeous. Gail's all together, and she has some chickens, not in this week's block, but up above. And you can see how she did her four patches. They're rotated a little bit different. So if you've been thinking about that, there you see how it looks. Heather's is pinks and teal and some pops of orange. Gorgeous butterfly and the owl in the middle of the big block. Big floral in this week's block, in the coat block. And she uses a lot of different fabrics for her block. So if you're thinking about that, there's one with a lot of different fabrics. And then on the opposite, Karen used just two fabrics. So if you thought, well, how's that going to look? And she has this gorgeous small print. Beautiful. Chris, okay, got them all up here in their kind of a black and white study with lots of grays, little pops of navy, red in this week's. Just amazing. This quilt is going to be so gorgeous. Linda's, and she's doing all the 12-inch blocks as well, and they look really wonderful together. I love these fabrics. This one, we're rocking in some chickens. Mary's got the chickens for us. They are just so cute, all fussy cut in there. Here's our ambassador Melissa with her wonderful bear fabrics and her black with white text print. And she's repeating that bear fabric. Once again, she rotated hers so the chain is like the other way. And of course, she had to fussy cut all those so you don't have bears laying on their side or upside down. No. Can't have that. Here's my friend Nadine. Beautiful. Nadine has the most gorgeous color sense, and she's using that word text. And if you're wondering how do they all look,
Well, Nadine is going to let you see. Here they are all together. Ah, yeah, Nadine, you better hide this one. You better hide it. If I were closer to Maine, I'd have to come over and take it. It's so cool. Nancy's is beautiful. She also is using a lot of different fabrics. So you can see here how that will look. And it is so effective and so gorgeous. Opal. Blue, blue, blue. So pretty. She fussy cut the flowers all along those squares. They look amazing. And then all her blocks together, a little family portrait. Looking so good. And you get to see the full fabric there on the left that she cut from. Okay, just a couple of more. We have Patty's, which has, again, multiple fabrics, and how she laid them out were different than other people's. And so there you can see another variation, which looks really good. I love it. Priscilla's is another 2 fabric one. That navy and cream looks gorgeous. Shirley's, love that teal with that sort of taupe and green. Great color combination. I can't wait to see them all together. Stacy's, here she did a little fun coloration with her bigger half square triangles, 2 orange, and then the other ones were the same as the square fabric. So it gives the block a whole different feel. Susan's, grays and yellows. Grays and yellows are so incredibly classic. It is just beautiful. Okay, Wendy's. Aqua for the win. I love aqua. Oh, it's so pretty. Got a little paisley action going on. And then we'll wrap it up with my solstice version from when I did the solstice quilt. I only have this little picture of it, so hopefully you can see it. And mine's busy block. But I love it. Got those lobsters in there. Thank you everybody for sharing your quilts. This is such a fun quilt along.
I hope you enjoy these blocks, my friend, and yeah, these ones. But I also want to thank you for all your well wishes and your notes about having the biopsy done on my skin. Remember, I don't have a diagnosis for it. It's a weird spot that I didn't feel comfortable, or my doctor didn't feel comfortable with. We just take it off and check it. Basal cell carcinoma is a particular type of skin cancer. You can go read about it. Lots of people have it. Many people have it multiple times. It is not something, and they're all different. They basically, once it's gone, and then you get different ones. So anyway, once I find out what it is, then I'll know, and I'll let you know. So I'm not worried about it. I've gone through it once before. I know the drill, but it does make you just a wee bit anxious having to wait, doesn't it, for those answers as to what something is. So thank you again. Thank you. I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.